Hey y'all, it's Ryan Monso, and this is Go Cougs Cats Cougar Afterthoughts show. It's the same show we've been doing, but we changed the name a little. Uh, I'm Ryan Monso. I don't know. Am I even live? I assume we're live. Maybe we're not. So, what the hell just happened? We were writing notes and getting ready for a show, and then all of a sudden, bam! Totally new show. Totally new everything. And Starnes Leland will be here whenever he gets here. I don't even know where he is. Um, this has been kind of a bit of a hectic scene. The field is completely empty now, but about 45 minutes ago, virtually every student on campus ran onto the field. And they celebrated with Stephon Johnson and Donovan Smith and everybody. Dana called it the happiest he'd been in 32 years as a coach. And there's Starnes Leland. Uh, if his internet will work. It's a little dicey here at U of H today with the internet, but we're going to get through it. Starnes, can you hear me? Okay. Hello. Are you here? Maybe he's not here. Thank you, Nuke. That's very kind. Starnes. So let's just get into it. Dana says it was the happiest he's been in 32 years of coaching. And with all the pressure that he's had on him in the last 12 days, I'd imagine
Hello.
that what he, oh, hello, what he saw in the last 12 seconds from the agony to the absolute thrill. I mean, I can't imagine his whole career in 12 seconds, basically. Um, but Stephon Johnson caught the ball from Donovan Smith. Starnes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hot damn! Well, we can get rid of that Nuke guy. Screw you, Nuke. So the final sequence is the stupidest I've ever seen in my entire life. You have 4th and 10 at the 50, and all you have to do is prevent them from getting 10 yards. And the throw, from my recollection, was a little low, and that kid caught it uh, below his waist and turned and made a great play to get to the end zone. I didn't think he was going to get there, and then he did. The quarterback, Green, goes down and is celebrating and does the Cougar paw down and all kind of things. It was on the far side. I couldn't see it all that well. Uh, and he gets a 15-yard penalty. And that part is huge because they have to kick off from the 20. And Dana said it in the post game that, when you have to kick off from the 20, that just changes everything. They've been in that situation before when Marcus Jones scored after the SMU game a couple years ago. Dana said when you kick off from the 20, it's a problem. And it was. They had a quick play in mind to get the ball to the sideline with Dalton Carnes. They do that, and they have, 52 yards? I don't even know. I haven't even seen the numbers. Um, 49 yards. And Donovan Smith throws it. Joseph Manjack, the fourth, tips it at the goal line. Uh, and the trailer is Stephon Johnson. He sees the ball and says, I have to go get that because I'm in the end zone. And he does, and the place explodes. And Stefan Johnson announced his presence today. He's now one of the guys. Starnes, what are your thoughts? I'm going to grab water.
Uh, Literally insane. Um,
Literally.
Literally insane. It feels like U of H kind of has one of these games every year where it's like
But
SMU,
like this,
not quite like this, definitely
okay.
not quite like this, but SMU, Memphis, those are two that went their way over the last couple of years. I mean, I mean, other games that I escape my memory. You're the historian, so I'm sure you know a lot
I've
more. But
never, ever seen anything like this. Like,
yeah,
I've seen crazy U of H wins. Tulsa 2009 comes to mind, where you scored twice in 21 seconds at the end of the game to win it. But this, you had it won, and they ripped your liver out from. They went in through your mouth and ripped your liver out, and then you went in through their mouth and ripped their liver and kidney out. And I mean, I've never, I don't even know that I've seen it on TV like this. Like, just the things that had to happen for this result, kind of insane.
this was a
Uh,
loss. It like this was a loss. Like they were gonna obviously they were gonna lose this game, and it was like wow. Especially there were rumblings like, oh, Dana's coaching for his job. They need to win this game. Going, especially heading into UT, like they need to win this game. They haven't won a Big 12 game yet, and it like up to that point, they had a 2-score lead. The offense was playing well. Special teams was okay. Defense held up at the right spots at times, and then it all comes crashing down in the last 4 minutes. And then even
yeah,
then,
they scored with 3:42, and then the 12 seconds.
it's like, well, they have no timeouts, and they get it to the 50, and 2 or 3 big plays from AJ Halsey and Jamal Morris keep it alive, or get it to 4th down. And then it's like, okay, U of H is about to win this game. They're about to eke by. They probably should have won this game given how the third and fourth quarter went, with Donovan Smith going on a tear and things like that. And then the 50-yard touchdown happens. The one thing that you cannot allow to happen: field goal, you go to overtime. Whatever happens, happens.
It's not even sure if they could get a field goal off, though, right?
Yeah, even then, 4th down, it was probably going to be in bounds if they got it. Then they would have had to spike it or bring the field goal team on.
Yeah, you'd have had to spike it. You couldn't.
Yeah,
You couldn't have got those guys on quick enough.
like
But
the biggest
pause right
possible.
there. Can you pause right there? And we're going to reset a little bit and start over, or get back into our groove. All right.
Yahoo!
I'm Stuart Gus, official personal injury attorney of U of H Athletics. As you know, a great quarterback wins championships. If you've been injured in an auto accident, big or small, you can trust Gus to quarterback your case.
Call 866-TRUST-GUS today. Principal Office, Houston, Texas.
All right. Let's get into our storylines. What are your top 1, 2, 3 storylines, Starnes?
Did this save Dana Holgerson's job? I think going in, I didn't feel like how this game went was going to matter as to whether or not he was going to get fired. I don't think you thought that. But then we started during the game, we started hearing rumblings that maybe if things continue to go the way they go, maybe this could be it. On the broadcast, it was said that he may be coaching for his job, and definitely seemed like with the passion that he was coaching, yelling with at the refs, definitely really seemed like he was desperate for this a little bit, at least a little bit, and then of course the touchdown, the West Virginia touchdown happens, and it's like, oh my God, what is happening? What is going to happen after this game? What's going to happen with this program after this game? And then the Hail Mary just kind of erases that for at least a little bit,
Yeah.
for at least a night, and we we have no idea. We may not know the consequences of this game for months,
Yeah,
maybe a year.
I agree with that. This is a good comment. That comeback in that Armed Forces Bowl. Can I be honest with y'all? That game was so boring and so hard to watch. I took a short nap, like into the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. I got back for all the exciting stuff, but I took a little bit of a nap in that Armed Forces Bowl. Uh, but yeah, this game, you're right. And when you say Dana looked like he was coaching for his job and he was fiery in a way that, Dana gets mad, but today was certainly different. But I think part of that is seeing your team actually fighting into the second half and fighting into the fourth quarter. You had a better second quarter than West Virginia, and you had a better fourth quarter than West Virginia. Now, they kicked your ass in the first and third quarters, but you had played well enough to have a two-score lead, and I think he was fighting for that, and good for him. And there's obviously a passion that the players, the way they talk about him, and you haven't necessarily seen that on the field, but today, no matter, take away the last two touchdowns, UVH played well enough to win the game. The numbers are not going to say it. West Virginia had a ton more plays, a ton more yards, but they played well enough. And when you think about how this game progressed, where West Virginia runs an almost 8-minute drive, and then you go and score on a kickoff, and then they come out in another long drive. You thought the defense would never get off the field, and the Big 12 bodies would be an issue, but they rallied. The defense certainly rallied, and I mean, there's nothing you can say except wow.
It was like that first quarter. I think you and I were 100% sure, 99% sure that when we went to the press conference, we were going to hear again for the third straight Big 12 game that the team got worn down.
How do you pronounce that, by the way? Do you think? Okay. I knew I would sound really white trying to say it, and you also sounded really white.
I have no
Go ahead.
choice.
Yeah.
But it felt like we were going to hear again that, like, this team got wore down. They were on the defense was on the field for 12 minutes in a 15-minute quarter.
Yeah.
I think you pointed this out to me. I think UVH's first 3 drives did not add up to West Virginia's first drive in terms of time.
I think it was first 4 drives.
Yeah, maybe first 4. And I mean, it looked like West Virginia could just run whatever. Every run, they were breaking tackles. The offense was getting pushed. The offensive line was getting pushed, even on the spots where they were coming in supposedly injured.
Yeah.
Every time a West Virginia player got tackled, they were getting tackled forward. They were still gaining ground when they went down or went out of bounds. And that seemed like it was just going to be another one of those games. And we were going to go in the press conference and hear that they got worn down, which they would have been. But somehow they were able to shore up at the right times. They got a good turnover. It was the third quarter with Isaiah Hamilton that they scored on, which
Yeah.
that was
Hadn't seen that.
I believe their second touchdown off a turnover all year, and that was their 11th turnover.
Yeah.
And that was the first of 3 straight offensive touchdowns drives by the Cougars. I don't really know. I guess I still haven't totally processed.
Yeah, there's been no time to, because we went straight from holy shit, what did we just see, to straight down to the press conference.
Well,
Kind of waited a bit.
Well, it was holy shit, what did we just see? And then 2 minutes later, holy shit, what did we just see? And then down to the press conference.
Well, yes, and also had to wait to see if West Virginia was going to even try or force the PAT. Just a couple things. So the Mountaineers had the ball for 29 minutes and 30 seconds in the first half. 29:30 exactly. U of H led at the half. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. You have to have that special team score. Dana
29
was
minutes?
29:30 in the first half.
Because that would have meant U of H had the ball for 30 seconds total.
Oh, I'm dumb. I'm sorry. U of H had it for 10 and a half minutes. I don't know. You know what? F you for questioning me. So West Virginia had the ball a ton in the first half. And U of H, it's late. I'm old. I don't do math at this point in the day. And U of H had the lead. Dana insists that the punt return for touchdown should have held up, that it wasn't a block in the back or a hold or whatever it was called. I don't 100% know about that, but we'll find out Monday if he changed his mind. Last Monday, Dana emphasized blocking and tackling when he met with the media. Now, he'll always emphasize something. You typically don't see that play out that same way. But I thought the blocking and tackling were better. Certainly the tackling was better. They made a mess of the Texas Tech game. There was some problems today, but it wasn't a ton of massive misses on defense.
Yeah, AJ Halsey had 15 tackles, which, for better or worse, as a free safety, but he was able to keep them from breaking into touchdowns. Jamal Morris was great. Our guy.
I love that guy.
I had a question that I wrote down in the third quarter, and I think it still stands. I'm going to skip to my question. One of my questions right now is:
Go
Jamal
for it.
Morris the greatest living human on it?
Yes,
Yes,
that was
I think
easy.
he might be.
I love that guy. I love everything about him. And I'm so happy for him that what he's been through, that he's just played himself into a no doubt about it starter. And one of the anchors of this defense. And he had a pass breakup, the one that Isaiah Hamilton caught in this end zone down here. It was him that made the play. He I don't know if that was his man, but as the linebacker, sometimes you have to make that play. And he caught up to him and made the play. I hate the way that Green throws the ball, how low it is, how flat it is. And I think that cost him several times. But Jamal Morris made things happen. And I just couldn't be happier for the guy.
Yeah. Chidozie Nwankwo had some big stops up in the middle. Seems like he's finally back to where he was expected to be health-wise. Yeah, the tackling was better. Of course, they still got gashed a few times.
Yeah. And sometimes the tackling was really good, but 9 yards down the field. And that's its own problem. Matthew Golden did get hurt. It was a groin issue, Dana told us after the game. No timetable. You know how that works. He certainly won't tell us anything Monday, but he did not seem very worried about it. Now, it could be because he just saved his job, but he was not that worried about it. Go on. What else you got?
Let's see. What do we got here? Sam Brown had that was really impressive. He had a killer block to
Very
let
good.
Joseph Manjack score. I believe it was that the touchdown? Yeah, that was after the interception. That was the drive right
Yeah,
after that. He had a
the
killer
foreplay.
block to let Joseph Manjack score. He didn't have a great game, maybe numbers wise, but I feel like he was all over the place in different ways, and he had a really great touchdown catch.
That touchdown was insane.
Yes.
And it was the fifth or sixth most insane thing that we saw today. It's not even in the conversation for craziest thing we saw.
Yeah, he played well. He's also the first guy to bear hug Stephon Johnson. I
For
just feel
sure.
like his maturity that we've seen this year has just been off the charts, especially after what it was last year. What was happening with him last year?
And this game, I think, showed it more than others. Um, you know, I mean, he had a rough year last year, and he made up for that. But this one, he was playing against his former teammates, against his former school, and he was a little hot-headed in the first half. A couple times, it didn't flare like you saw last year, but he was getting there. But then he just settled in and makes that great play for Manjack, makes the great touchdown catch down here. He's one of the trailers in the end zone looking for that ball that Stephon Johnson caught. And by the way, Stephon Johnson in the post game, that's a good dude too. And we're going to post more of his post game comments. You'll probably see him. Uh, I really liked his maturity and the way he was just honest. And, you know, with how to talk to the media, we did the switcheroo. I don't know how that happened. I didn't touch it. I didn't do it.
We're having issues.
Can you hear me?
Oh Lord.
Oh,
Come back,
Lord, he
Ryan.
says.
Everyone put in the chat, come back, Ryan, please.
Am I not here? Sort of.
Well, while we're waiting for him to get back, he was talking about Stephon Johnson right there being a good dude. He definitely seemed like a really good. Oh, you're back. He's back.
I've been back for an hour. I don't know where you've been. So Stephon Johnson, good dude. You're going to see a lot more of him. He is coming into his own. He talked about in the post game, like everybody was just bear hugging him and jumping all over him, dogpiling. And all he wanted to do was find his mom. How cool is that? And he said that coming to Houston was a family decision. And it meant a big deal, or it meant a lot to him because his grandmother now gets to see him play. I'm a granny's boy, and I was ready to just go give him a big hug because I think that's the coolest thing is when you're making decisions like that based off of your family and allowing them to see you play.
Yeah, I was. He seemed like just a great dude in the in the post game, and I can only imagine what that moment was like for him. Especially, it's been especially because it's been a tough year so far for him. Hasn't really found his footing yet, and he goes out and he has a game like this. He has a moment like this. Feel happy for him. I think another guy I want to highlight. I think Donovan Smith. I think this might have been in the second half. I think that was probably the best he's played as a Cougar.
Oh, without a doubt.
First half against Texas Tech was great, but this was second half, close game, and he went on a roll. And he led three touchdown drives in a row and made big plays. And of course, he had the arm to make that Hail Mary play right there.
Well, can we talk about what his numbers were? He was 11 for 11 in the second half. I think he had 4 touchdowns in the second half.
It was 3. Would have been.
Well,
oh no, he ran. He ran the first half touchdown.
Yeah, he had 4 in the second half. Manjack, Brown, Johnson, and Johnson. He had 11 attempts, and 4 of them were touchdowns. That ain't bad. But he completed all 11, too. And he threw for 179 yards in the second half. I don't even know what his full numbers were, but the numbers don't matter. He showed you a different level, and this is the guy that you hoped you were getting when you brought him in. And after a game, you weren't sure. And after 2 games, you really weren't sure. And after 3 games, you knew you had not gotten what you wanted. But he stuck with it. He got through Sam Houston. He got through Texas Tech. And then today, when it's money time, he's there. In the postgame, Dana, y'all have to watch the postgame because Dana was the Dana we get like twice a year, where instead of being snappy, instead of being angry, he explained things and he talked us through how things happen. And the way he described Donovan Smith on the last play of getting away from the guy that would be Sacker that would have ended the game to getting out into the flat, turning and pivoting his hips, getting him squared with the goal line, and then throwing the ball 50 yards in the air. And, I mean, you can run that all day, and you're not going to hit 1 out of 100. But Donovan did everything right. Manjack made a hell of a play that doesn't go into stats and won't be remembered, but should be. And then Johnson comes down with it. Dana, the way he explained it and the way he took us through that, it was like, that's the guy I want to cover, you know? Like, this is what we need, is a coach that talks us through, that helps fans understand. And that's the kind of guy that everybody wants to see. And by the way, Derek, I don't know if you're drunk, but this is my kind of comment when I was drinking. If I were on a live chat, I would be try-eye. That's me. If we get back to storylines, I think the number one storyline in this one is going to be Dana's bar tab tonight, because I think he's buying all the drinks wherever it is. I don't know if he saved his job. I don't think he did. But had he lost this game and in the fashion that it happened, it's heartbreaking, but who knows? I can't imagine you would fire a guy 9 days before UT. I just can't. But who knows? But they get it done. And buying himself time, I don't know. I think he's going to be evaluated on the whole thing at the end of the year. And he's 3-3, but the 3 on the back end are bad. But today, I think today was worth way more than UTSA and Sam combined. And he's got a chance now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's there, but he's got a shot.
Yeah, and like you said, they played well enough to win this game. You know,
Yeah.
like it wasn't close to that against Texas Tech. It wasn't close to that against TCU. It wasn't that against Rice.
No.
And West Virginia, 4-1, surprised some people. They're okay. They're not great.
They're really not.
But this
They
is a
made
team
some
that was
questionable decisions with the clock late in the
Yes.
game that I wanted to go through the glass and attack somebody. Like, I just hate that kind of football. I hated it when UTSA did it in the opener, and I hated it today.
I hated it with Rice.
With Rice, yeah. Damn, that hurt. I just hate that shit. Is this the biggest win in Dana's career? Like, he went to the Orange Bowl his first season as a head coach. And then his last year in Morgantown, they went to Austin, and they went for 2 and got it and beat UT. And that's a big deal. But is this his biggest win at U of H?
I feel like it can't be, but at the same time, it's their first Big 12 win.
Yeah.
At a time where it seemed like the bottom was going to fall out if they didn't. Whether or not he was going to get fired or what, but just with where the schedule was going, UT up next, coming off a loss. They needed this and they got it, and so maybe it was. I struggle to think of another one. I mean, the SMU game would have been the other one, the SMU win, but it just wasn't. Cincinnati, maybe, and of course they lost that one. Definitely no other year it could have been. Couldn't have been last year. Couldn't have been 2 years before. So I guess it is his biggest win at U of H.
If you include BYU and Cincinnati and UCF before they got in the Big 12, plus all the Big 12 schools he's played, this is the first one he's won.
Yeah.
He hasn't beaten teams of this level at all. And I think it's his biggest win. I think it's his biggest win by far. I think SMU was a good win for a team in the American. This is bigger.
Yeah.
This is one comment I just want to show that normally I would agree with this, but that guy actually cost his team about 8 seconds because he fell down and they just were like, the refs were like, get up, you got to go. And they finally called time. But once they spatulaed him off the field, they started the clock and started it at 40 seconds again. So he cost his team time there. He really didn't do himself any favors. Typically, you would think that would be, but it did not work out that way today. And that's another one of those things where I think the refereeing in this game was atrocious from both sides. West Virginia thinks that they got hosed a half dozen times. U of H on the punt return think they got hosed. The forced fumble that would have been a scoop and score for U of H, if not forward progress, that forward progress was a little fast. When I watched it originally, I thought, okay. But on the replay, it was like, that's a little fast.
It must have, the forward progress must have stopped right before he got hit. It really didn't make sense to me. I don't understand.
It's hard to stop forward progress before the hit, but it looked like that's what happened there.
Yeah.
It did not, and we talked about that a minute ago, but yeah, the taunting penalty cost them that 15 yards and cost them a game, cost them a win.
I'd like to give credit to my predecessor at the Cougar, James Mueller. He in our group text, he was the one who pointed that out to me. I then copied that text verbatim and then tweeted it.
Copied what? What were you talking about?
It was about the taunting. It was about the taunting penalty. It was about how if that doesn't happen, then they're not in position to make that play.
No,
So
they're not.
I need to give him credit for that because he pointed it out first to me.
Yeah.
So
through about 2.5 quarters, Matthew Golden had more return yards in kickoff return than U of H had on offense. And U of H won this game. And I will never not just be mind blown by the fact that they won this game. And there's a lot of there's a lot of things to talk about. But, you dropped a surefire interception that would have basically iced the game with 6 minutes to play. And they end up going down and scoring like 3 minutes later. None of it made sense on the time. Somebody asked Stephon Johnson in the post game, what do y'all call that play? With the tip and the catch at me. What do you call that? And he said, it's just Hail Mary. Like, all right, I like that. Everybody's got some fancy thing. Nope, just Hail Mary. So we're going to take 15 seconds and then be right back with you.
I'm Stuart Gus, official personal injury attorney of U of H Athletics. As you know, a great quarterback wins championships. If you've been injured in an auto accident, big or small, you can trust Gus to quarterback your case.
Call 866-TRUST-GUS today. Principal office, Houston, Texas.
So in our rundown, the next thing was supposed to be Spotlight. What is the one moment in this game that was a turning point? And I feel like we've done that. I think we've covered that one moment that was the turning point. But I'm gonna go back and give you one more. West Virginia ran for almost 8 minutes in their first drive of the game. U of H pinned it back real deep, and they ran 8 minutes off the clock. But you held them to a field goal there. And you may not think that's a huge win, but they ran 16 plays, 82 yards. 16-play drives do not end in field goals. 82-yard drives rarely end in field goals. But both happened there. And I think that while that was a hard drive, that kind of set the tone that you can do this. And then they kicked the ball off, and it was not a great kick, goes to the goal line. Matthew Golden sees something kind of on the right side of the wedge and really just ran right through traffic.
Oh, yeah. There were two guys by him, and one was the kicker. That's
not good.
He made it look easy.
Yeah, you don't want to be waiting on the kicker, thinking that's going to be the guy that saves your ass. But yeah, so that's just my other spotlight that I would think was a pivotal moment. Even though you gave up a 3, you gave up a 16-play drive. After that drive, you think West Virginia could just name the score, right? It looked like they're going to just do anything they want. And for a long period of time, they did. But when it got down to, making money, getting into the end zone, they struggled.
Yeah.
And Green, he bit off big chunks. But for the most part, he was ineffective. He got you those big plays for sure. But just running the offense, it wasn't that great. He was big on third down. You got to give him that. And How many big plays did they have? 14. U of H probably had, well, counting the last one, 7, probably. 9. But obviously none bigger than that last play.
Yeah. I also think that drive to end the first half, because the offense had been, really anemic at that point,
Yeah.
and would continue to be for a little bit in the third quarter. You said this when they scored, and when we went to half, it was like they shouldn't be up right now. No chance. And Donovan Smith, that kind of started him off for the game, and that was really well run, really good play to score with that quarterback run. I think did they get a they got a PI to Joseph Manjack in the end zone from he was getting mauled by 2 different guys, and that's what put them on the 2, and then Donovan ran it in, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That was probably I guess that was the first sign of life from the offense, and I think that also deserves a bit of a spotlight.
Manjack also had another play. I think it was the 3rd and 9 or something, and when U of H is trying to kind of run a little clock, and they just throw it deep to Manjack. And I think the whole play was, okay, Manjack, get a PI. And he did. He kind of wrapped himself around the defender, basically demanding the ref throw the flag. But he did his job. He got the call. And, whatever happens, Manjack did a lot of things. Kelvin Sampson calls it, he does the things you need to do to win. He made winning plays. And that's what Manjack was this game. The numbers are not huge. He had the touchdown, but he made great plays. And I think a lot of people will think that maybe his biggest play is on the touchdown. He ran right over to Sam Brown to give him all the credit, because Brown made the block there, pushed the guy into the end zone, basically. Mm-hmm. But Manjack went straight to him to give him all the credit. And I was really that is the kind of teammate you want to see. That's what you expect at Fertitta, and it's good to see it here. Yeah. What kind of questions do you have? Do you have any Ask Me Anythings?
I have one, and it's purely for you. Was Dalton Carnes a sneaky MVP of this game?
No.
Because
nowhere close.
Matthew Golden goes out, and the first drive they don't have him. It's 3rd and 5, I think.
He did make a nice play there. He made a really good play there.
Play. I think a couple plays later, they score. And then on the game-winning drive, he was wide open. They gave it to him, but he made the catch to set him up right at the 50. And maybe. And
it's interesting that they knew they needed that play, and they knew that was the route, and they gave the redshirt freshman walk-on that responsibility. I will love this kid because he's a walk-on, and he should not be playing the minutes and making the plays that he's making, but he's just going out and taking that. And that's the guy that I'm going to root for forever. If you go and force them to play you, you have to play me. All right, let's get it. That's the kind of guy I want. I also love that Carnes, basically, when he comes on the field, and it didn't happen on that 3rd down, but almost every other time he comes on the field, the nickel or whoever is on that side is like, shit, I'm going to have to run this go route with this kid, because this kid is just going to run all the way to the pylon. He doesn't care. He's just running. I don't want to call him Forrest Gump, but it's kind of like Forrest Gump. He's just running. This play right here. So West Virginia has every right to demand they run that 2-point or that PAT.
Yeah.
So if something squirrely happens and U of H drops the ball and West Virginia picks it up and runs it in, that's 2 points. And technically they could have tied the game. But let's be real. U of H is getting in the victory formation. Donovan Smith is taking it under center and taking a knee, and that's it. That's all that was going to happen. And the referee went over and talked to Neil Brown and came back and explained it to the crowd and then went over and talked to him again and basically convinced him that, look, this isn't happening for you, buddy. It's time to go get on that plane and go home and explain how you ran up 550 yards and lost. But yeah, I immediately saw it that the fans all came on the field. The students got to this end zone faster than anything you've ever seen.
Really quickly.
I don't know how they're not all playing a sport because they got there really fast. And, you know, I saw it immediately. I was like, well, they could. And I was looking for Neil Brown and Dana on the field where they were. I never saw Dana. He may have been at the bottom of the dog pile. But Neil Brown went in and got the refs and started making his case. And finally, the refs kind of said, you know, sorry, it's not going to happen. They do have the discretion to end the game.
Yeah.
And with this one, it was, look, they're not gonna even attempt a PAT. They're gonna take a knee. And
it seemed like the fans were they were sort of getting on the sideline though. They seemed like they were in the process of doing it, and then
there was some movement. And I said it to you in the press box. The fans, the students should get off the field so that U of H can go and take the knee, and then they can rush the field again. It's a 2-for-1. But it didn't work out that way. Tank Dell was 100% in the middle of the celebration. You could see whatever pants he was wearing, they looked like a cow. They looked like a cowhide, right? The white and the black. And he was right in the middle of everything. And, I mean, that guy loves this school. Instant classic. You gripe about Dana later. We already did. And we probably will again. But, I mean, honestly, how can you not be happy for Dana? Even if you don't like him, even if you want him fired, good for him. Good for U of H.
This former team, too.
Now that is something we haven't even talked about.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Dana is not sentimental, right? He doesn't care about things like that. But when it happened, he cared. And the smiles on his face after the game, talking about his former players that were here, it mattered to him. And he may want to say that it didn't, but it kind of mattered to him. And good for him. Okay, my question to you. What's the opening point spread for UT?
Is it? I don't think it hits 30. No. I would 17 and a half to 20 and a half. That's my guess. Maybe that's a little low. I don't know.
I was going to say 17 and a half.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be a 3-score favorite here.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll go much above 21 to start. Other people have ideas. Maybe. I mean, that's...
I don't see this offensive line holding up at all against that UT defensive line. No chance. Unless you might.
No. It was a rough night for everybody. The running game, you ran for 158 yards, and Stacy Snead's run was 58 yards.
Yeah.
And I didn't take college algebra here, but 158 minus 58 is 100 yards. And so basically your run game was 100 yards on 25 carries. So that's 4 yards a pop. That's nothing. So you really didn't do it. You didn't get it done. But
Stacy
you did
Sneed,
it when it needed to.
when he gets going, he is really, really fast.
On the
But
outside, he is super fast.
but
Anywhere between the tight ends, not so fast.
yeah.
Tony Mathis had 1 rushing attempt. That's all I'm saying.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah. Parker Jenkins only ran the ball 6 times for 24 yards. Not a ton. I mean, the offensive numbers are not good. They're really bad. The fact that you got 5 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns is 5 touchdowns, right? I don't know.
6.
I'm drunk. Well, one of them was a kick return.
Oh yeah.
So you got 5 offensively. But you did it on like 350 yards. That's hard to do. And they took advantage. They were short scoring drives. I think 4 of them were 2 minutes or less, including the last one, obviously.
Yeah.
But, this program has not done that a lot in the Dana Holgerson era. And it's nice to see that they have that, they have that somewhere if it's needed.
Yeah.
This is really the end of the first half is the best you've ever looked in a 2-minute offense at the end of the half under Dana Holgerson. The best. And now a lot of it came on a penalty to get you down to the 2, and then Smith runs that draw that looked great and was like, where has this been? But that's the best you've looked. And after as bad as Sam Houston was, and kind of Texas Tech, you just missed the field goal against Tech, no big deal. But Sam Houston was awful. This was great.
Yeah.
And obviously the end of the game, that worked out for you. I don't think it's going to be a 40-point number against UT. I think it'll be 17-20. Special teams looked good. There was a penalty on special teams. I don't even remember what it was.
It was a holding on a punt cover.
Well, there was that one, but there was a personal foul that cost you. I believe it was in the first half.
Was it the face mask?
May have been. Did U of H have a turnover? I don't remember one.
No, they didn't. There was that pick that should have been picked that Donovan threw in the first half. Threw it at like 2 guys, and they collided, and the ball fell.
And then West Virginia got lucky when U of H didn't make that pick with 6 minutes left, and then the forced fumble. I mean, it could have been a way different game. No offense. So, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to end the show after what you just saw. This was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. There's just no way to say it. It's the stupidest thing. 4th and 10 at the 50 should never happen. Ever. West Virginia had 30 guys on the goal line to defend that pass. And they, 1, they let it get tipped. And 2, they let it get caught. I don't know how that happens. The stupidest thing I've ever seen. I still do not know what team you have here. From one week to the next, I have no clue. We've been talking about identity since the preseason. It was a little better today. You get a little bit of a feel. It didn't feel... With this team, there's a script and then you know when you get off the script. Today it was a lesser of a distinction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
It did not look as wow and then as like it did against Texas Tech or TCU or name really except Rice. What do you think? What do you got? That's a good segue, by the way.
Uh,
Hi, Mom.
one thing. Oh, one thing. That we didn't mention. I don't know if we really need to mention it, but West Virginia was 13 and 19 on third downs, and I think they started 6 or 7.
Yeah,
You let that up, and somehow you still win. And you had a 2-score lead at one point.
yeah.
It's just weird, really, really weird. And
You know this is weird. 32,000 in attendance.
yeah,
Yeah. 32,000.
Talking soccer real quick. Soccer
No.
was able to come back against TCU just a little
Neat.
bit.
I think
Got a
it's
draw.
great. You were scoreless for 67 minutes and then scored twice in about a 7-minute stretch. Got a draw with the number 21 team in the country at their place. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there much? Is there anything else we need to hit?
I had one other thing, and now I don't even remember what it was.
There are a lot of things that I had.
Dana said, I don't think I could be more mad and more happy in a single minute ever in my life. And I have never seen him as mad for a prolonged period of time and have more trouble getting over plays, like a certain play or a certain call. Like, he railed on officials longer than I've ever seen. But I've also never seen that jubilation. Like, after Memphis last year, there was that. But this is different. And good for him. Stephon Johnson was awesome. Donovan Smith was really good in the post game. Typically, he does not let you in. He doesn't show you a lot. But he did today. And we're going to post a little bit of that coming up. But I don't know how to describe. Like, I have to write about this in a couple hours, and I don't know what the hell to say. That was stupid. That should not happen, but it did, and you should enjoy it. And I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I don't either.
Your guy did 70-30, if I remember. Hot damn. One more. Proud of it. Glad. Taking all the subs we can get. We are the best group of people that cover U of H. Let's be real. I believe it. Everybody else believes it. We're coming, I think is how you say it. Is that what you kids say? We're coming?
That's what Dion says.
You can find Starnes at Starnes Leland on Twitter. And you should find him there. He's at 399 followers. 399. He needs to get to 400 tonight before we go off the air or before he goes home or, some point. Just follow him. He's a good guy. He's getting better. He's a great writer. He's the best writer we have. So follow him.
Very flattering. Thank you.
Yeah.
Also,
That's it.
Shout out photo editor Ann. Did a great job today. Got some great photos. Assistant editor Riley did a great job running things, live tweeting, editing a story. He's going to be writing on this game. He'll have a hell of a story coming, I'm sure. And then our staff writer AJ came in. He was pulling double duty. He was with Coug TV and the Cougar. He was able to do it and wrote our recap pretty well. So shout out all those people.
Awesome. Yeah, Mario did our photos. I don't know what they look like yet, but I'm sure they're great.
Mario was right next to Ann on that.
Yeah.
Hail Mary.
Well, hopefully he got the better angle because,
We'll see.
Yeah. So we just did an hour, and it doesn't feel like an hour, but
Yeah.
you were only here for like 57 minutes of it. I don't know what you're going to see next week. I know the football team is getting Saturday and Sunday off, much deserved. They're going to go watch film tomorrow, get the weekend off, and be back Monday, and they'll have a full week. Coaches are going out recruiting tomorrow and Saturday. There's opportunity. Come to Houston. You can play. I guess that's it. Oh, he hit 400. Hot damn. Whoever signed up, good for you. Love to see it. Love to
Can we
hear
have
it.
like a confetti, little confetti thing?
I don't know. I don't think we have that capability. I didn't pay for that level of whatever.
Thank you, the good
So-
people of Twitter X.
Yeah. Thank you, Twitter X. That sounds weird. All right, we're done. Thank y'all so much. GoCougs.com all week. There's going to be a ton. Every national podcast is going to have us this week. We're going to do everything, writing, podcasting, video. There's basketball media days this week. I don't think I'm going to that. It's in Kansas City. Starnes is going to have every single thing you need at the Cougar, thedailycougar.com. Check him out. Starnes is great. Ann is pretty good. Riley is growing on me, and I don't know the other guy. But, yeah. So there we go. That's our show. Thank you so much. GoCougs.com, thedailycougar.com, Starnes Leland, and the guy from Go Cougs. Thanks, y'all. Have a great night. You earned it.